Before we get into it, if you enjoyed these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button, and keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as, investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Alright folks, here we are on Thursday, February 20th. We're going to take a look at iQIYI today. So iQIYI got on my radar because they came up in my scan here. Thinkorswim. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. First, let's start here on the Webull chart. So iQIYI having a bit of a rough day today, down almost 10% at the moment. We're about 15 minutes before close as I'm recording this. But these are the levels that I have on the chart. You know, if it does pull back further, I have this, 211 really first, and then this 189 level. You see this recent swing low of 182, and that's about as low as she goes. We have 165 way back here, but that, you see how that got bought up. And back here you have like 190-ish. 186 it looks like, and that got bought up pretty quickly. So it does, you know, at least in recent history, does want to get bought up pretty heavy in this range. And so I'm wondering, you know, if it stays about where it is, or even it comes back down and maybe sort of double bottoms-ish on this 182. You know, it did put in a bottom here, right around that level. And it also put in a bottom here, right around that level. So if it does get down there again, I have sort of two questions. One, are the buyers still there? Because if the buyers aren't there, then yeah, you might be in trouble. You might be looking at losing 180s altogether and heading back down, who knows, maybe toward that 165-ish level that we saw in months gone by. But if it does get bought up again, you know, it's such a strong buy zone. I wonder then if it continuously getting bought up in this range, then just exhaust the sellers, right? At some point, someone's got to get exhausted. Either the buyers get exhausted down here and it falls, or the buyers keep buying it up and pushing it, and then the sellers, like all the folks that are looking to sell in this range, are gone. They just aren't there anymore. And so that selling pressure evaporates and it gives a clear path to push through. Now, if that happens, I have 225, 237, 283. So we have like a sticky zone here, right? Between like 2.25 to say 265. We have pretty sticky like 40 cents there. And 40 cents for a stock that's in the $2 range is quite a percentage, right? So pretty big percentage chunk there where things could get quite sticky. If it can get through there, right, if this could end up looking like a big W, essentially, or this will look sort of like a, I don't know, a W with an extra appendage or something. And 285 can get broken, then you might have some smoother sailing. I mean, certainly there was quite a bit put in here around the $3 level, and you would, you know, assume that that $3 psychological level does make sense. But, you know, other than the psychological aspect of it, to me, the stronger level looks up more toward the mid threes, right? So you have a huge potential run room here. I don't know if it would take advantage of it. It could, you know, it's a lot of juice to get there, right? We're talking about more than $1 on a $2 stock to even get into that range. And so it'll take a lot of juice to get there, but it does look to me like it has the potential for some run room if it doesn't gas itself out by the time it gets there. And then we have these levels in the 3s, the 4s, the 5s, all the way up to approaching to 6. I think that's as high as we go for the time being. So it's probably plenty of area to cover. Now EMAs wise, let's pull those in, take a look. Here's what's pretty interesting. You know, recently tapped right off of the 183 EMA. That looks like it was about to the penny. If not, it was really close. And so, you know, the short-term EMAs are still in a bullish formation because of this push. You know, my question is, yes, obviously it's having a rough day today, but if it can recover relatively quickly, again, it is in a zone where it has tend to get bought up pretty quickly. That was the first thing that I showed by scrolling left and showing sort of the zoomies that it tends to get when the buyers can catch iQIYI at this price. Again, if they get exhausted, then it's a whole different story. But if that's the case and we can get a quick recovery here We have the short-term EMAs still in a bullish formation. It recently tapped the 183 EMA. If it can go back and attack it again, not to say that it's going to blow through it or overcome it and push on like a rocket ship, but even if it can start to wrestle with it more rather than just sort of a tap out like we saw here, sometimes it takes many attempts, as you're seeing here with the push downward, right? Many attempts to get bought up, push it down, get bought up, push it down, get bought up, and now it's getting pushed back down. So, the tap is the start. You see a near miss here, a near miss here, and now it touches, right? And so the next step would maybe be a little bit of push through, even if it pulls back through. If we get a little bit of a push through, that is again sort of working in the right direction. Now, granted, it's working in the right direction is relative to the fact that the 183 EMA, by nature of EMAs, is getting drawn down price-wise, right? It's drawing down with the price action. So keep that in mind. But if it can get action through it, it gives it an opportunity with short-term EMAs all in the bullish formation, get some action over the 183. Maybe we have an opportunity to open up a run. Hard to do, and yeah, the stock has been decimated over time, right? So hard to do, but it did have this run here. We looked at that 165 before. That ran to almost $8. So like intense move. If people had grabbed that, even at $2 and like quadrupled their money from late October to early February, right? So you held in November, December, January, so 15 weeks or so, quadruple, not bad. Volume-wise, a bunch of shelving here, so it's sort of right on the shelf, and like I said, here's the thin area. In this thin area, obviously, there's potential for run room. Like if the sell pressure is not there, then and there is motivation. If this volume stays high and it's buy side volume, then yeah, there's plenty of opportunity in all appearances for it to take it to the max swing. Max swing meaning to the next sort of shelving area, but that's significant. It would be like a 2x-ish gain from where it is. Again, this is best case scenario stuff, so keep that in mind. I don't want to paint too rosy of a picture and have it sound like this is a guaranteed win or something like that. Total profited shares, this is actually kind of surprising given the chart, but 67% as of close on yesterday. And so there's, to my mind, plenty of opportunity if folks want to some degree, dollar cost average down, who are sort of lumped into that 30%, or buy relatively on par shares if they feel like there's some juice left to squeeze. Maybe that's where some of that comes in. Large scale orders outpacing, large scale out orders outpacing the in orders at the moment, but that buy pressure, if it starts to pick up, we'll see if that sort of changes gears at all, or what that starts to look like. Now, here's why it's on my radar to begin with. It's starting to trigger now in the TTM squeeze indicator. So unless something changes in the next 8 minutes, it's putting its first trigger candle on the TTM squeeze indicator. And we see back here, let's look at a few previous triggers and fires. We had trigger, fire, bang, shot right down. Trigger, fire, sort of a lackadaisical move down, pop back up, re-trigger, refired, shot down here to 182. So just because it's triggering and firing doesn't mean that it has to boom to the upside. It's just looking for an outsized move. So yes, that outsized move could be to the downside, but it is situated right now dead center on the ATR levels for the month of February. It's sort of mid-level on the in the channel, and if it does get motion to the upside through that call triggers at 251 with a +1 ATR all the way up to 359, that's just for the month of February. But if it does get dippy, that put triggers all the way down at 183, -1's at 75 cents. So I don't know if that would really happen, but it is pretty interesting triggering while we are sort of dead in the middle of this pretty solid, consistent buy zone. And if that can continue to be the case, then maybe that trigger and fire sets off, and maybe the fire is to the upside. Like I said, it could also come to the downside. The way that would look would be that, like I said early on in the video, if the buyers are exhausted from buying up in this range, right, and they're like, we've bought all we can bought and the stock just keeps coming back down here, we're not going to keep buying, then you could get your outsized move to the downside because the buyers aren't there and they have to look for the next level. Where are those buyers going to step in? So could be an interesting few weeks here. We'll see what happens with iQIYI, but I thought I would bring it up and see if it piqued anyone's interest or not. All right, folks, I hope that you've had a good trading week. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.